weekend, everybody, and welcome into Gamecock Central Radio. GamecockCentral.com presents Gamecock Central Radio with Gamecock great Kip Bouknight. I'm your host, Emerson Phillips. Kip, huge weekend for Gamecock baseball. I mean, a hell of a thing Gamecock baseball accomplished this weekend, coming from the losers bracket, losing the first game in a regional on Friday night, and bouncing back to win 4 games in a row, and wrapping up the region championship today with this 10-5 win over UNC Wilmington. And Kip, the Gamecocks are headed to the Supers, and South Carolina will host Oklahoma State in the Super Regionals starting on Saturday.
I'm just as excited as I can be, Emerson. I just cannot describe the excitement that I have for Chad Holbrook and the staff, as well as all the players and Gamecock Nation, the fans. The fans were absolutely electric the last 2 games. They truly made a difference. But in the end, the players absolutely have to make plays and have to make pitches, have to get the hits, have to make the plays. But I can assure you the Gamecock fans made a true difference, and I'm just so happy for those players and coaches. And it's just a great opportunity for South Carolina to advance, and their backs were to the wall. And I can assure you, I think that's what South Carolina's program has been built upon, is not giving up and just battling. And those guys battled their butts off, and I'm just so happy for them. A great victory, and so glad that Founders Park will be hosting the Super Regionals, and Gamecock Nation can come back and support them. It's going to be amazing come Saturday at 3 o'clock. It's just going to be so electric. I can only imagine. I just can't wait. Can't wait for it to be here.
Yesterday's action rained out, obviously, and we had a crowd of more than 7,000 on hand at Founders Park for today's South Carolina victory, the region-clinching win over UNC Wilmington. And Kip, there's so much to talk about. The Carolina fell to Rhode Island 5-4 in Game 1 on Friday. That put the Gamecocks, sent them immediately to the losers bracket, and they came back on Saturday and beat Duke 4-2. And then Carolina really broke out the bats with a 23-2 win over Rhode Island. That was a school record for runs in a postseason game, 23-2 over Rhode Island. So the Gamecocks facing elimination, since Saturday here, Kip, and then had to beat Wilmington twice, and they brought out Tyler Johnson to start the first game against UNC Wilmington. The Gamecocks knew they would have to beat the Seahawks 2 games in a row, and it was Tyler Johnson, who's been the closer all year, getting his first start of the season and just the second start of his career. What a performance he turned in, Kip. A complete game, 11 strikeouts. Carolina won the game 10-1, and that really set South Carolina up for today's final game, the series clincher. So talk about the weekend, Kip. There's so many angles that we could talk about, so many storylines, but the bottom line is that Chad Holbrook and his ball club got the job done with their backs against the wall this weekend, and Carolina's moving on.
Well, Chad Holbrook made every decision absolutely correct this weekend. I mean, some would say, there's been a lot of questioning of Chad Holbrook all season long, and I'm just so happy for him that things came together this weekend. And, a coach can only do so much. I mean, Coach Tanner would tell you that. Chad Holbrook would tell you that. And I can assure you the players make coaches look good. And I mean that with all due respect to Chad Holbrook, because Ray Tanner will be the first to admit it. Chad Holbrook will be the first to admit it. And I think that there's been a lot of fans that just have been on Holbrook for no reason whatsoever, in my opinion. We're talking about a program that won, the Southeastern Conference Eastern Division this year. They won 32 games last year. So, again, outstanding weekend. What Tyler Johnson did in the semifinal game, or I guess the game to get them to that last game, if you will, was one of the best pitching performances of a South Carolina pitcher, certainly in my lifetime. I just absolutely could not be more happy for Tyler Johnson. He did an amazing job. I just hope he's okay. He's not used to pitching, but maybe 40 or 50 pitches max. He pitched over 100 pitches. I hope that he's okay come this weekend, because obviously you may say, well, Kip, he was throwing 95 at the end of the game. He's probably okay, but that was all adrenaline, and he's got good mechanics, so I certainly think he'll be okay. But, man, I tell you what, he just threw an amazing baseball game, and, they finished it off this weekend, or today. I mean, that was an amazing performance today. I'm glad that they scored the runs they scored. The Gamecock bats now they're producing, they're doing the little things, they're getting the big hits, and, man, John Jones comes in and gets a big pinch hit. I think that was a huge hit for the final game, not just to give us a little extra cushion, but to get, I'm telling you, I still think John Jones could be a huge factor in South Carolina. South Carolina could be a dangerous team. I mean, you're talking about 2 wins away from Omaha, and if South Carolina gets to Omaha, you never know what happens. I mean, you never know. So just hats off to Chad Holbrook and the players. Just so happy for him. Just absolutely ecstatic. Love it.
Kip, all the regular players contributed this weekend. It truly was a team effort. I was talking with somebody as the weekend was going on, and I was saying that, in order to have success in the postseason in college baseball, you've got to get contributions from maybe some unlikely players, some players that haven't given you big performances all year, maybe some guys coming off the bench, and whatever the situation may be, a pitcher that starts a game where he hasn't been a starter all year. And we saw all of that rolled into this regional this weekend when Jonah Bride got ejected from the game in the first inning on Saturday. D.C. Arendis comes on and has a 6-hit day, 6 hits into 2 games on Sunday, and Arendis started again today. So, he had not started much of the year, and he came in and gave the Gamecocks a big performance this weekend. You talked about John Jones. There were some nervous moments in today's game when the Gamecocks had gotten out to an 8-1 lead, but then Wilmington scored 4 runs in the 8th, cut it to 8-5. They were still batting, and Carolina got out of that jam, and then John Jones came off the bench and hit a 2-run double off the wall to give the Gamecocks a little bit of cushion going into the bottom half of the 9th inning. And then, of course, Tyler Johnson, who had been the closer all year, he starts, and you mentioned earlier that it was just truly an epic performance, and that's a word that's probably overused nowadays, but that performance by Tyler Johnson truly was one for the ages in Gamecock baseball history, and it's one that people will talk about for a long time to come. So contributions up and down the roster, and right now Carolina's got a lot of momentum heading into the Super Regionals this weekend against a very good Oklahoma State team.
Yeah, you're right, Emerson. I mean, the bottom line is this. Players make coaches look good, and I mean that with all due respect. Again, it's just bottom line is the coaches can only do so much. They can only put their players in the best position to have success. And I can assure you, the D.C. Arendis, I mean, the John Jones coming off the bench, Tyler Johnson coming in and pitching and starting and doing what he did. I mean, those players did that. So again, I give credit to the players, but I'm so happy for Chad Holbrook because everything Chad Holbrook has done this year, everybody's questioned. And quite frankly, I've gotten sick of it because again, the coach can only do so much. Those players have got to make plays. And those players made plays this weekend. And it was outstanding. I mean, I'm elated right now. I'm just so excited for Gamecock Nation. And, it's a big, big victory. And hopefully the South Carolina fans as well as the players and coaches can take this momentum into the, next weekend because Oklahoma State's going to be a tough opponent. And, South Carolina, I think, is certainly going to have to, pitch really well like they've done. And, they're 2 wins away from Omaha. And no matter what happens for me, this team has overachieved this year, in my opinion. No doubt whatsoever. This team has absolutely overachieved. And I couldn't be more happy for him.
No question, Holbrook has taken some heat because Ray Tanner set the bar so very high. People may lose sight of the fact, Kip, and it was just a few years ago, but the Gamecocks were the first team in 40 years to reach the College World Series final in 3 consecutive years. It hadn't been done since Southern Cal did it in the 70s, and Ray Tanner did that for the Gamecocks and then became the athletic director and handed the head coaching job over to Chad Holbrook, felt he was the man for the job. He was Tanner's right-hand man, his number one guy throughout the Gamecocks' run in those World Series. And Holbrook, I think you're right, he's really taken some criticism, and it's simply due to the fact that the bar for Gamecock baseball has been set so very high.
Well, yeah, Emerson, I agree with that. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I'm actually in Alabama on business, and I'm with a bunch of LSU Tiger fans, and they're actually, I think they're getting close to the end of the game now. They're inside the bar watching now, and it's just it's amazing how different the perspective is. I mean, those LSU fans are thinking, they're right there where they need to be. Hey, they're in contention. They finished the year strong this year, and I think South Carolina fans, not all of them, but I think a lot of them need to just come back to reality and the perception and just South Carolina has been so daggum good, and to have a chance to go to the Super Regionals, even if they lose today, it's still been a great year for South Carolina baseball. Again, would South Carolina and Chad Holbrook accept losing today? No, they wouldn't. They expect to go to Super Regionals. They expect to go to Omaha. But to go to Omaha, you're talking about the 8 best teams in the nation. You're talking about going to, in college football, how it used to be for the top 8 teams. I mean, that's a really difficult thing to do. So I just, South Carolina's done a wonderful job. Chad Holbrook's done a wonderful job, and I'm just so excited for the players and coaches and the fans as well, because the fans certainly showed up those last 2 games. They were electric. Absolutely awesome.
No question about it. Gamecock baseball making history today, reaching the Super Regionals for the 12th time. They become the first SEC program to reach the Supers 12 times, and South Carolina now gets Oklahoma State. They were the number 2 seed in the Clemson Regional, and Oklahoma State swept through the Clemson Regional. They beat Nebraska 6-0 and then beat Clemson 2 games, 9-2. And 12-2. So let's talk a little bit about Oklahoma State here. They're 39-20 overall. They're 15-8 on the road. Their starting rotation of Thomas Hatch, Tyler Buffett, and freshman right-hander Jensen Elliott worked 20 innings over the weekend in Clemson. They gave up just 2 earned runs, struck out 24 batters, only 6 walks allowed, and 17 hits for those 3 Oklahoma State starters. Hatch went 7 shutout innings against Nebraska, had 10 strikeouts. Buffett got just his 3rd start of the season on Saturday, worked 7 innings, gave up just 1 run in that first win over Clemson. And then it was the freshman Jensen Elliott working 6 innings strong, 8 strikeouts, just 1 run allowed in that second and decisive win over the Clemson Tigers. So Oklahoma State practiced at Doug Kingsmore Stadium today, Kip, awaiting their super regional opponent, and they find out that it will be the Gamecocks. So they're going to stay in the Palmetto State for the 2nd straight week, and we've got 2 traditional baseball powers squaring off with a trip to Omaha on the line this weekend here in Columbia. Oklahoma State making its 41st NCAA tournament appearance. Oklahoma State has been to the College World Series 19 times. That's 6th most all time, but they have not been to the College World Series since 1999. Kip, their lone national championship came in 1959. It's been 17 long years since Oklahoma State went to Omaha. We know the Cowboys are hungry. The Gamecocks are going to be hungry. This is going to be a great series of college baseball this weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be a great series. And, again, both teams are 2 wins away from making it to Omaha. And South Carolina being at home, I think, is a huge advantage. It's a little early for predictions. I haven't looked at Oklahoma State and some of the film, but I do think that South Carolina has the advantage, and I truly believe that South Carolina is going to go to Omaha. I really do, because I think that South Carolina fans are going to make a huge difference. In college baseball, the fans and the atmosphere can make a huge difference, and they certainly did this weekend. But, hopefully the Gamecock players and pitchers will get some good rest over the next couple of days and get ready for Saturday. But I'm just so ecstatic, again, for the players and coaches, and it's going to be a fun weekend.
Yeah, the crowd really impacted today's game and really all weekend, Kip. The crowd was fantastic at Founders Park. Better than 7,000 for a 2 o'clock game in the South Carolina heat in early June. Not too many places around the country would get 7,000 plus for a Tuesday 2 o'clock game, but that's what we had in Columbia today. A little bit more at Oklahoma State here. They hit .385 in the Clemson Regional, and the team ERA for Oklahoma State was 1.00. They had only 1 error all weekend, and they are 3rd in the nation with 68 double plays turned this year. Also for Oklahoma State, they had a starting pitcher. Trey Cobb started his last 11 outings, but they moved him to the bullpen for the Clemson Regional, and he had 2 appearances over the weekend, worked 6 innings, struck out 8, gave up just 1 run on 4 hits, and he did have a save in that regional clinching win over Clemson when he worked 3 scoreless innings. So John Little, 8 for 13 at the Clemson Regional for the Cowboys with 3 runs knocked in, and their leadoff man, J.R. Davis, hit .467 in the Clemson Regional. He scored 5 runs, and he has reached base safely in 19 straight games. Oklahoma State is 31-11 with J.R. Davis batting leadoff. So that's a little bit of a preview for the Gamecocks and the Cowboys. South Carolina and Oklahoma State meeting in the NCAA baseball tournament Super Regional. The Sweet 16 of college baseball will get underway. Game 1 Saturday at Founders Park, set for a 3 o'clock start. We'll also have a 3 p.m. start on Sunday for Game 2, and if necessary, Game 3 will take place on Monday. The time has yet to be announced for that Game 3 if it ends up being necessary. Kip, an exciting time for Gamecock fans. What a weekend of baseball, and we're thrilled to be headed to the Supers.
Yeah, thrilled to be to the Supers. It's, I think, again, it's an overachievement for this team, for this program at this point. I mean, they won 32 games last year. Again, job well done, Chad Holbrook and staff. The recruiting was amazing. getting a lot of JUCOs in here. The freshmen, it seems young. It's been an amazing year, but I can assure you, Gamecock fans, players, as well as coaches are not satisfied. They want to get to Omaha. They live to get to Omaha, and I can assure you they're going to do everything they can to do that. And let's just pack Founders Park this weekend. Saturday at 3 o'clock. Can't wait to be there.
Kip, kind of feels like the Gamecocks are playing with house money right now, coming all the way from the loser's bracket in a regional, winning 4 games in a row with their backs against the wall, all 4 games. And then Oklahoma State wins the Clemson regional, and that allows the Gamecocks to host the Supers. So you go from facing elimination after losing the first game on Friday to now here on Tuesday afternoon hosting in the Sweet 16. It's a good feeling.
It is a good feeling. I think that's why, in the locker rooms, there's things that Chad Holbrook, I guarantee you, he's telling the kids. He's like, hey, guys, listen. We can't control anything. Yeah, we were hoping we'd be a national top 8 seed, and we were hoping that we would be, doing better in the SEC tournament. But guess what? Let's just focus on what we're supposed to do, and let's just go out and win. And they won, and now guess what happened? Clemson lost, and now they're hosting a regional. So job well done.
My partner is Kip Bouknight here on Gamecock Central Radio. He's with us each week on Gamecock Central Radio. We invite you to download the Gamecock Central Radio app. You can get it on the App Store and on Google Play to subscribe to the podcast. Search for Gamecock Central Radio. We're on iTunes and on SoundCloud and other popular services, or just visit radio.GamecockCentral.com. Kip, looking forward to talking more about Oklahoma State with you later in the week. Have a safe trip home from Alabama, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks so much, Emerson. Go Gamecocks.
He's Kip Bouknight, and I'm Emerson Phillips. Thanks for joining us on Gamecock Central Radio.